On February 4, 1986, a police officer by the name of Stephanie Lazarus had accessed her ex-lover John's house by picking his door lock. Inside the home, John was nowhere in sight, but his new wife Sherri was. When Sherri noticed Lazarus in the house, she fled in the other direction, with Lazarus quickly running after her. Both women began to physically fight each other. Even though Sherri was taller and stronger, Lazarus was an experienced police officer who knew how to combat. When Sherri got a hold of Lazarus, Lazarus bit her arm, causing her to let go. Immediately, Lazarus grabbed a vase and smashed it on Sherri's head, which caused Sherri to fall. Acting quick, Lazarus grabbed a blanket and wrapped it around her revolver in order to muffle the noise of the gun. She then shot her face twice and then her heart, killing her instantly. Because Lazarus was experienced in crimes, she quickly began to stage the area as a robbery gone wrong. She knocked over the furniture and created a mess in order to make it look as if a robber was looking for valuable items. She ended up stealing Sherri's marriage license and her BMW. She was successful because when the police authorities came in to investigate the site, they mistook it for being an armed robbery case due to the unkempt setting and the lack of any evidence left behind. It's important to note that during this time, testing DNA wasn't really a thing. Meanwhile, Lazarus went on with her life, even marrying another detective. It is believed that Lazarus killed Sherri out of jealousy because she delusionally believed that she was part of a love triangle that involved Sherri and her ex-lover John. John and Lazarus dated on and off during undergrad, but when they grew apart, she still had a lot of feelings for him. When John started to seriously date Sherri and then subsequently marry her, Lazarus was enraged. She began to stalk and harass his new wife frequently, even going to her workplace and yelling at her. It was becoming so obnoxious that even John noticed and told his wife that she should just ignore her, so that eventually Lazarus would quit. That didn't work out, and consumed with rage and jealousy, Lazarus finally was able to not only kill Sherri, but also get away with it for over 20 years. That's right, for 23 years, Lazarus just continued on with progressing in her career, and even became an art detective in 2006. Everything was going great in her life until one day, on June 5th, 2009, fellow detectives in her team confronted her and asked her if they could talk to her about something, at first misleading her that there was an art case they wanted to discuss. What made Lazarus a target was when the DNA obtained from the crime scene that involved Sherri's death was finally retrieved and tested with new DNA technology. Once the police learned about Sherri and Lazarus's relationship, they wanted to take a sample of Lazarus's DNA. In order to do this, they followed her around the workplace to see if she left anything behind. Lazarus dropped her styrofoam coffee cup in a trash can, and once they retrieved this item and tested the DNA on it, they saw a match between this DNA and the crime scene DNA found on the bite mark. Lazarus, thinking that this was just an ordinary request, agreed to having this discussion and came into the room with them. Unbeknownst to her, the two investigators were recording her with a secret camera. They began to ask her ambiguous questions at first about where she was and what she was doing during the times Sherri died. And soon, their questions became more and more specific about her history regarding her relationship with John. As Lazarus began to feel the questions got more and more confrontational, she became accusatory, telling the two investigators that if they were trying to blame her for the murder, she didn't feel comfortable speaking with them anymore, and that now she needed a lawyer. What Lazarus didn't know was that the police were already outside the door, and the moment she stepped out of the room, she was arrested, with her bail set to $10 million. In March 2012, her trial began, and she was found guilty. At 52 years of age, Lazarus was sentenced to 27 years to life in prison. Since then, Lazarus has attempted to appeal, and each time she was denied. She claimed that the journal they referenced during trial was taken out of context, and the burglary theory wasn't even presented in court. Right now, Stephanie is serving her sentence in the California Institution for Women in Corona, with eligibility for parole in the year 2034. What do you all think about this case? I find it simply shocking that it took 20 years to finally catch her and get justice for the heinous crime she committed. Although she claims her innocence to this day, the evidence states otherwise. Out of curiosity, do any of you believe in Lazarus's innocence? I think that if she never bit Sherri, she would possibly never have been caught. But thanks to that small piece of evidence, it revealed the truth. I want to hear your guys' thoughts in the comments section below, and please like, share, and subscribe for more interesting content.